Hi, I'm Hanna with Ruin Your Knees, and this evening we're doing a review on Xero Shoes do-it-yourself sandal kit. The kit comes with the outsoles, laces, a little punch, and a bobby pin to help with the lacing when we get to that. So we're just going to be following the video, the tutorial on xeroshoes.com on their website explaining how to make these do-it-yourself sandals, and we'll provide a link to that video. And so we're just going to see how doable this is. So here you can see how flexible the outsole is. These come in a variety of really nice colors. This one is called Mint, which I thought was a pretty color. On the bottom here you can see the chevron tread that it has, and then it's got these two little ankle holes. So I'm just going to see how this works to position my feet and figure out how I need to cut them if necessary. Okay, alright, so you can see that these look a little bit too big for me. In the video, Steven suggests moving your feet more towards the inside. I've got some grass on my toes here from just cutting the grass this evening. Okay, so I'm going to move my feet in closer, and then he just says, actually in his video he uses a Sharpie, which I'll just go ahead and do, and just kind of trace roughly the outline of your toes, and this is going to be rough here initially, and then we'll go back and smooth it out in a little bit, and then we're going to actually cut with scissors this out. So that's how that works. Of course I wouldn't want my sandal to look like that when it's finished, so then we can just go back through and kind of decide how we would want to soften that up a little bit. And of course I would imagine I'll be tweaking it more when I actually start using the scissors. So that's that, and then we'll cut this out and see what it looks like. And then I also just remembered before we cut them, it would be important, as Steven recommends in the video, to put a dot where you're actually going to be making your hole for the laces to come through. And he recommends in the video that you make your dot closer to the second toe. So I don't know, just like that, I guess. And then try it on so you can see. Pardon I'm outside obviously, so there's dirt and stuff on there, but okay, so that's the hole, and over here. Okay, so you'll see how that works. Now we're gonna go ahead and cut these out. In the video, Steven recommends that you would cut first counterclockwise and then clockwise. I'm left-handed, and I think he is too, and so he actually did it the opposite way. So I'm going to start by going counterclockwise and then clockwise. Did I say that the wrong way? I don't know. Anyway, and then what was the other thing? Oh, we just have Fiskar scissors that we're using here at home. He also said that you could use, you know, something more heavy-duty like hospital type scissors, which we don't have. And then since it's kind of thick, we'll see what happens. It might be necessary just to stick, keep this part of the scissor real close and just make a bunch of little cuts. So let's see here, and I can tell that this probably is not going to work well with these scissors. Nope, this is not going to work. Okay, so with normal Fiskar scissors like this, it doesn't seem, it's just not wanting to go, it's too thick. Okay, so we've moved inside. It took a little bit of time to find some scissors that would work better. So I found I have they're also Fiskar craft scissors or fabric scissors. And so I've gone ahead and done the first one, and they worked pretty well. You can see the edging is not perfect. I can keep fiddling around with that, but probably no one's going to be scrutinizing the edges of your sandals anyway. But anyway, that's how that looks. You can see I haven't done the second one yet, so that's the difference. This one's a little bit smaller, but obviously you cut it however you want it to be. And so, oh, and then another thing I should say, I was concerned about the Sharpie permanent marker, and just with a paper towel and some dish soap, I've been working on that, and I've been able to pretty much get all of that off. So if you do happen to use a permanent marker in that initial tracing phase, it seems like that'll come off eventually, or you could maybe just use a ballpoint pen in the first place, and then that would be easier to remove. So anyway, here we go. We're going to try to cut this. And with more durable scissors, you can see that it's pretty quick. So I'll just go around roughly first here, and then of course you can spend however much time you'd like fiddling with the edges to get it as perfect as you'd like it to be. So I'm finished cutting out the second sole now, or sandal, and I realized after I was done, I just thought, I'll match them up to see if they match, and in fact they don't, and so I thought, oh, bummer. But then actually we were talking about it, and we were saying, that could actually be an advantage to this type of do-it-yourself minimalist sandal, because there probably are a lot of people, maybe most people, who don't have perfectly symmetrical feet, and so a sandal kit like this would actually help you to, really make your shoes one of a kind. Okay, so now we have moved to the garage for this next phase, and I'm just practicing on a scrap of the rubber with the little hole punch before we actually do it on the actual sandals, and it's really easy. And gives you a nice clean hole. So this is the fourth practice hole here. You can see how fast that is, and then it just pops out of this punch quickly. So I think I can go ahead now and do my little holes here. Okay, and there we go. So now I've got both of my holes, and our next step will be to see how the lacing goes. Okay, so now we're at the point where we're actually starting to lace the sandals, and I use the bobby pin that comes with the shoes, and you can use that to, pull your lace through the hole, the toe hole. We've done that. We've made a knot. The end of the knot is just pretty much the end of the lace is pretty much in the knot. Now we're going to use a lighter and just kind of warm up that knot there, get it kind of melty but not burn it. Okay, so after the knot got hot, we just used some pliers to squish it, and that makes it really flat. And then you can see that when it's pulled through, and I would imagine as you walk on it, that'll press it down more. So what we're going to do next is we're going to attempt to follow the video for the basic tying pattern on xeroshoes.com, and we'll provide a link for that video. And then when we're all done with the sandals, we'll show you the finished product. It's the next evening. It ended up taking us about 3 hours from start to finish to make the sandals. I've been wearing them around today just to get a feel for what they're like, and I think they ended up looking cute. I like the color combination that I chose with the sky blue lacing and the mint. And we just use the basic, probably the most basic knotting system that is shown on xeroshoes.com, and we did have to watch the videos several times just to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. If I had to make these sandals a second time, I think it would go a lot faster, simply because we've done it now and we've taken the time to watch all the videos. And it took us a while to find all of our supplies. We ended up needing a lighter, you know, at one point to burn the end and stuff like that we weren't prepared for. So anyway, doing it in the future would go a lot faster. I still think it would probably take me between 30 minutes to an hour to do them. I've been wearing them around today. They're comfortable. They're one word, the main word that would probably pop into my head to describe them is very lightweight. Another word, flexible. They're very flexible. And so I think in the end, the way that I will be using these sandals is, you know, just for walking around during the day, doing things recreational. I'm not a minimalist runner, so I don't think that I will be using these sandals for running. That's not to say that one couldn't. Certainly that's an intent of them. One thing that I am looking forward to using them for is I think they'd be really good for camping or backpacking.
Take it off and show how flexible it is.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to signal
Okay.
you.
All right. I see. Very, very flexible.
Can you roll it?
Yeah. See, so we were saying that this would be a great thing for a backpacking trip. For example, at the end of the day, you know, you want to take your hiking boots off. Something like this would be really nice to have just at your camp. And that would not be a lot of extra weight to carry with you on a backpacking trip. So personally, I think that would be a great use for them in the future, and just walking around. So in the end, would I recommend these? Yes, I think, you know, they're affordable, about 20 bucks. If you're the type of person who wants to spend some time, like we said, you know, a couple of hours at least for me, making something like this, if you would find that enjoyable, then this would be a great thing to do. At this season in my life, you know, we have 3 kids at home under the age of 5, so we're busy, and so I probably wouldn't want to make my own sandals again just because I don't want to spend 3 hours doing such a thing. But you can add charms to them. You can buy, you know, charms and beads from xeroshoes.com. Lots of people have fun accessorizing them and coming up with all kinds of really creative tying patterns and all of that. So if that's something that you are into, I think this would be a fun project, an affordable project, and I think that's probably what I have to say about these sandals.